Hello, Will. Hello, Sabaa. Thank you very much for joining me today. So you just finished your degree in chemistry, and both of you did a non-lab-based project. Can I ask you both just what attracted you about these projects, and when you started, when you read them, and maybe I'll start with Sabaa.
Yeah, so I chose the pedagogical one because when you first sent out the list of like possible research topics, I actually got really intrigued. I started researching kind of immediately, especially when I saw COVID-19 and how recent that is, and it's like keeping up to date with news. So to be honest, out of all three different categories, it was the one that like screamed at me the most. So that's pretty much why I picked it. And we've kind of got lab experience. You have to do that in the degree anyways. So I thought, why not try something new? And I actually really enjoyed it.
What was the title of your project? Sorry.
How does the media portray scientists, and how this changed pre and post COVID-19?
Brilliant, thank you. And Will, what attracted you?
Yeah, similarly to Sabaa, I guess it was just the idea of being able to do something a bit different and branch out, and sort of so much of like the chemistry modules and so much of what we do is quantitative. So I felt like it would be a good idea to do something that was a bit more qualitative, and get some new skills there. And yeah, just the opportunity to sort of really research something that's so current as it was at the time, with public trust in science. That's what my topic was essentially, and trying to understand what impact the pandemic's actually had on public trust in scientists. And yeah, the conclusion wasn't really like definite, because obviously we're still in the pandemic. So I think there's definitely more research needed in that sort of area.
So when you started a project, how did you think you were going to go about it? What were you expecting? And did what you thought was going to happen actually pan out the way that you thought it was going to be, or was it different? I'll ask Will now. I made you go first before.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect when I selected it, because I didn't really know how much research would be able to get done within that sort of short space of time. It's only really a few months, but yeah, I didn't really know what to expect. But I did really enjoy the project. I think it's definitely a good one to do. I done like interviews and online quizzes and things like that to gain data. So there's a lot of techniques out there where you can actually get quite a lot of research done even in a small amount of time. Just got to sort of have a free mind and experiment really.
And Sabaa, how about you?
I would say again, likewise to Will, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know what the possibilities were research-wise, what we could do, but I did some interviews as well with some scientists, and that was quite interesting. I kind of wished I got a bit more of like quantitative data, but then I was lucky that I actually managed to liaise quite well with Will, and he shared his results and vice versa, and that helped. And I think that was quite nice because I hadn't known Will before the research project, so the fact that we got on really well, and I actually kind of met someone that I'm still in contact with, so I'm quite happy with that.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. And was it just straightforward as just saying, I'll just go off and do an interview, or was there a bit more to the methodology?
I would say there was a lot more to the methodology. You do need to look at like confidentiality and like the whole procedure. You have to get ethics approval. So that was actually really interesting to look into. I wasn't fully aware of all of that before, and it can be a bit of a long process. So that was interesting to look into.
That's good. Is that how you found it as well, Will?
Yeah, there was a lot more to it than I initially thought there would be. But I think sort of there's sometimes not a lot you can do really. You can only go at the pace that sort of allows you. There's quite a few checks you need to do, and that requires, like Sabaa mentioned, requires approval. So in the meantime, you can just prepare your questions and yeah, and get ready for the interview basically. But once you do, all you need really is one good interview, and that can give you so much sort of information and so much to base a project upon. So yeah, I think that I liked that there wasn't really a limit to, there wasn't like a fixed sort of what we have to do. You need 3 interviews and you need this and that. It was just go off and do what you can and try and get in touch with people and see how it goes really. So there's a lot of freedom to it.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. So what do you think you learned by the end of it that you didn't know before you started a project that you can take away with you in the workplace or elsewhere?
I would say there was a lot of things because you had to do the presentation as well, part of it, and I've actually had to use that in my line of work as it is. I actually have to present a lot, so it was quite nice to get that as a bit of experience. And then the report writing, I think it made me a lot more formal in my writing as well, because it does have to be up to quite a standard. So that was quite useful. I have to use that a lot in work emails currently. So a lot of things that I use daily now in my grad job, they actually came from the project, and it was actually a very good talking point in my interview. I did speak about it a lot. So yeah, it was very good.
Brilliant, thank you, Sabaa. How about you, Will?
Yeah, I feel like I gained a lot from it. I think there are a lot of skills from this project and from this type of dissertation, I think, that you don't necessarily get from other parts of the degree. For example, just like when we had to do a presentation as part of the project, and just being able to talk about something that wasn't sort of quantitative, it was more of a sort of a discussion. And that definitely helped me when it came to talking just like we are now, really, just on the computer. And with my grad job, I needed to do an interview, so that definitely helped me with my confidence.
Brilliant, thank you. And now just slightly removed from your project, it's just something an area that I'm keen on. Both of you are excellent at using accessibility within your project in terms of your navigation and your content. Was that something that you found useful to do?
I don't know if you want to go first.
Yeah, definitely. I think having that focus where you want your work to be as accessible as possible, because you want as many people to see it from all different, from different range of abilities, and but it also does make it easier for yourself as well, I think, when you're actually doing the project. So I think if for anyone thinking of doing this project, definitely bear in mind accessibility. Because there's quite a lot to it, but it really does help.
Thank you.
I actually do think it's really important, and I've noticed that even in my job now, looking at accessibility, I actually have to look into that, especially when I'm looking at the website, and are the font sizes big enough? Are they readable behind a certain background? And it's actually become so much more popular, and I've noticed that in all the things I've had to look at and work that we need to keep up to date with. So that has been quite interesting, and I only heard about it a lot in this research project, but I'm grateful and happy that I did learn about it and actually include it, because I am now using that once again.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you very much, both of you. Do you have any last thoughts for anybody about to embark in a slightly different project than straight in the lab or a computational project?
I would say you should probably talk to people who are doing a similar project. That really helped. I think me and Will both benefited so much, because we could send each other our work to read over, sort of like if we made a mistake. We also shared results, obviously we referenced, so that was okay to do. But it was a great way to network as well, especially with the interviews too, where we shared those results, and it does give you that confidence, as Will said. So I think it's a great, like, if I did it sooner, I would have been happier, but I'm still happy I did at the time I did. But I'm grateful to Dr. Biagini, because actually you're the one who put a meeting on like similar projects, and because of that, Will attended, and it really benefited us both.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I think yeah, don't be afraid to branch out to course mates on your who are doing the similar kind of project, because it really will help. And sort of try and aim high. If I aim to do 3 interviews with 3 different scientists. In the end, I only got 1, but that was that was, you know, enough. And I aimed to get 100 people to respond to my survey. I managed to get about 50, but it was still enough. So setting your targets higher means that you still achieve, you know, a better number in the end, even if you don't quite meet it. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Thank you very much, both of you, and well done again to your success, and wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.